One thing that really separates a pro player from a bedroom player is this magical ability where they can kind of just play anything. Jam over a song they've never heard before, figure out the parts of a song super fast, come up with cool stuff on the fly, and all of this kind of effortlessly. So most people think it's some kind of talent that they're born with or a skill that takes a lifetime of experience to develop, but it's actually something you can start learning right now. So when you think about it, most songs are made up of many layers of individual musical ideas all working in tandem. But when you peel all the layers back, at their core is a single rhythmic pattern, a chord progression, and then a primary melody. This isn't always the case, but most of the time when a song is written, it starts with a single guitar or piano playing chords combined with a vocal melody. From that starting point, bands or producers will then build that song into a full production. So when you listen to the final product, you need to learn how to reduce that song back down into its basic building blocks. And this is so that we can create what I call an MVP. Your minimum viable performance. Even if a song is relatively complicated and full of intricate parts, there's always a simplified underlying version of that song that exists. And when playing in front of any kind of audience, having this knowledge in your back pocket lets you play freely, knowing that you can always fall back on that MVP for a moment if things get dicey. Now, to be able to execute these MVPs successfully, there are key skills you absolutely need to have. And it's all about being able to cover every single bass. That means you need to be able to play every chord in every key in multiple ways depending on the circumstances. You need to be good at identifying and replicating rhythmic patterns, and you need a consistent way to play melodies and lead lines that works across all 12 major and all 12 minor keys. Let's talk chords first. Open chords are great, but they're limited by the key you're playing in. They also force you to one section of the neck, which really doesn't give us much flexibility. Instead, we are going to go for versatility. So in this case, a single movable shape to play a bar chord, a power chord, a triad, and a spread third. A lot of people don't understand just how much you can get out of a basic bar chord, but check this out. This is just an E major shape bar chord. We're on the 5th fret, making an A major chord, but we can also break it down to just a power chord. Now that works over both major and minor. So if we're not sure what that chord is going to be, major or minor, we can just play the power chord and we're totally safe. We can also play the triad. That gives us all 3 notes in the chord with no duplicates. Very handy to use. And we can also play something called a spread third. So that is just the root of the chord and the third, in this case a major third, but it sounds really nice. And we can do the same thing with 3 more shapes as well. So we've got our E minor shape bar chord. In this case, on the 5th fret, it's an A minor. We can reduce that down to just the power chord. Power chord works over major or minor. Then we've got our A minor triad. Chord tones, no duplicates. And then we've got our A minor spread third. There. Move on to our next shape. We've got our A major power chord shape. 5th fret makes it a D major. We can play that as just a power chord. We can play the triad. And we can also play the spread third. Then we got our A minor shape. So D minor here. Once again, D power chord, D minor triad, and then we've also got our D minor spread third. Having 4 different options for each chord is massive because it gives us the flexibility to choose what will fit best based on the sound we want to achieve. Our next job is to understand the feel of a song through rhythm. The vast majority of songs are in a 4/4 time signature. That means most of the time you'll simply count in 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you'll also run into songs in 3/4 like Iris. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Or songs in 6/8 like Tennessee Whiskey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Other time signatures exist too, but they make up less than 1% of songs. So the rhythm section is going to follow that basic time signature while playing different rhythmic divisions. Typically, a drum pattern will emphasize different beats with the kick and snare to give a song its signature feel. And really the best skill you can develop around this is replicating that feel in your strumming. So you would listen carefully to the song, count along, then mute your strings and do your best to match that feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We are also going to need a way to easily flow into lead lines, riffs, licks, and melodies. The important thing here is that this does not change when we move across all the keys. We want consistency. So we use the 5-1-2 bass, which is a cluster of 3 key scale positions. So the 1 is in the middle, that refers to position 1, and it's very important we pay attention to these notes in this position because that's going to tell us what key we're in. So this one is B, B minor. This one is D, D major. Now, no matter where we move this 5-1-2 bass, this is always going to tell us the key that we're in. And we are not doing the pentatonic, we are doing the full 7-note major or minor scale so that we have every diatonic note available to us. And then on one side we have 2, so position 2. And on the other side, we have 5, so position 5. And that is the full 5-1-2 bass. We always want to see these 3 positions as one cohesive unit. And then we can move it around to play in any key we want. I take this, I shift it up 2 frets. None of the shapes change at all. And we are just now in a new key based on those 2 important notes in the 1 position. So that's going to tell me I'm now in C sharp minor or E major, and I have every single diatonic note available to me in those 3 positions. And what happens is when you move this, let's say all the way down here, and we go to the key of A major or F sharp minor, well, it clips off a piece of the 5. That is totally fine. That's just something that we have to deal with, but you still have 1 and 2 and a little bit of 5 that's available to you. Now, because we're stacking multiple positions together, it unlocks many sounds that require you to be moving horizontally rather than being stuck in one vertical position. Something that's incredibly convenient with this bass is that we can use the notes along the low E and A strings to anchor all of those chord shapes we learned earlier. So if I isolate the notes on the low E and A strings within my 5-1-2 bass, well, I can use those as the root notes for my E and A shape bar chords and play a whole bunch of chords from within this same key. And I could break those down to just power chords, or I could play it as triads, or even as the spread thirds. So now that we have the chords, the feel, and scales figured out, we can replicate the core minimum viable performance of a song pretty easily. Let me show you an example. So right away, that main melody, it sits right inside of my 5-1-2 bass, just inside of position 1 there, which is very nice. Now, as far as the chords go, I don't know these exact voicings, so I'm just gonna play my basic bar chords and then just follow the drums and see how that sounds. Really paying attention to those drums and accenting those beats. Totally works. Let's try moving to triads when the chords change here. Smaller, more focused sound, spread thirds. Nice. Now let's say I just wanted to noodle a little bit. I could just noodle in that 5-1-2 bass. The real goal of all of this is to hide possible mistakes from the audience. A simplified version of the right chords or right notes is going to sound infinitely better than a clearly wrong chord or note. And having this consistent fallback area in every single key removes a lot of the fear of messing up. And that's what gives you that real confidence whenever you play. Probably the best skill to pair with this is knowing what to listen for in a song so that you can pull all of this information out by ear. And I teach this skill step by step in my course, Listen and Play. So if you want to check that out, there will be a link down in the description with a 50% off discount, which makes the course less than $30. If you'd rather stay on YouTube, I'd recommend you check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.